A little bit controversial, but women on OnlyFans. Okay, biggest thing I found about OnlyFans and things like that is it is no different than the companies that employ hundreds of porn stars, or even those that work in the strip joints and sex clubs, and it's no different. See, understand this. OnlyFans is nothing more than a private it's private. It's part of the sex industry. It's nothing more than private. It's a privatized sex industry. It's like a sex group. But it's part of the sex industry, but it's more private. You've got the massive companies that work with the porn stars who are taken care of. They look after them. They make sure their medicals are up to date. They make sure all of their staff are happy and capable and still willing, and they allow anyone to come and go as they please. They've got contracts that they live out, and at the end of their contracts they can either choose to renew them or whatever. It's all it is, contracts, bound, whatever else. And under those contracts they do all their medicals, they take care of their health, they deal with their issues, and they perform. And it's the same in the sex clubs and the strip joints and the lap dancing clubs. They are under contract. They are contracted to perform with the knowledge and understanding that no one's allowed to touch them. No one's allowed to do anything against their will. You're not allowed to do a lot of things, and if anybody breaks those rules, there are security that will take care of them. They are protected. It's an industry, and OnlyFans is a private version of it. That's all it is. It's a private version of those industries. You do it in your own homes or wherever, and you decide your content. You choose what it is you're going to do. You set your boundaries, you set your rules, and you go, if you don't like it, don't sign up. And if you get too much, I'm going to kick you off. And you have that right. And the people who run the OnlyFans site will back you. See, because I had this issue when I first heard of OnlyFans a couple of years ago, that the only thing I saw was it was the 21st century version of prostitution. It had gone from the streets to online. Well, the reality is, so what I did is I signed up for it. I wanted to see exactly what it was and whether or not there was any kind of protection or rules or regulations or anything that differentiated it from street prostitution to online prostitution. And actually, it's nothing like it. When I signed up, there were rules, there were regulations, there was protections, there were so many things I had to sign. And I did everything except give them my ID. Without the ID, I cannot post. So I've got a thing on there. I've got an account on there. I've got an account on OnlyFans, but I cannot post because I did not give them my ID, because I don't want to post on. I don't want to post on OnlyFans. I can't do it. It's just not who I am. I'm not like that. I find the whole thing really hard work for me is just not something I'm capable of doing. So I did not give them my ID. I did everything else. I got everything else up and running. I got my account sorted. And the only thing I did not do is give them my ID. And if I signed into it now and gave them my ID, I could officially start posting. But yeah. So, I mean, there are rules, there are regulations, and you are protected on there. Anybody and everybody who posts on there, they have a protection layer. It is not the same. It has nothing to do with the prostitution. It is not the same. It is actually just a private version of the sex industry. Plain and simple. So when you hear people turn around and say that anybody on OnlyFans can't have a relationship, they can't be loyal, they can't be faithful, it's nothing more than cheating, it's bollocks. Because a lot of people in the sex industry, they get married, they have families, they, it's not an issue. As long as they are open and honest about what they do, and as long as they don't hide how their form of income, as long as that is not hidden, as long as they don't hide who they are, hide their source of income, hide what they do, there is no issue in that relationship. The only issue is whether or not the partner can handle being with someone in the sex industry. That's what it comes down to. It's not about money. It's not about anything else. I mean, I'm sure there might be some people out there that would care about whether or not she made more money than him. But the reality comes down to whether or not that person can handle being with someone who works in the sex industry. Because that is what it will come down to in the end. It's nothing more and nothing less. But they can have a genuine monogamous relationship. Just because they work in an industry, it's no different than somebody who works as an actor and is constantly off doing whatever, or someone who works in the music industry and is constantly on tour like half the year round, or or a football player, or it's no different than somebody who spends half the year gallivanting off all around the world doing something else while you're sat at home. You don't know what they're up to half the time, but you trust them, and when they're acting, especially actors, because they end up doing all sorts of things, and a lot of actors, I mean, how many films do you watch as an adult where an actor ends up having sex or going to bed with another actor? I mean, seriously, how many films do we see the sex scene, happen, or do they get nude on screen? It happens in a lot of films, especially in the more adult films, like 15 pluses, you kind of see it happen a lot. If you get to a 15 plus film, you're going to see a bit of nudity or a sex scene. It happens. I mean, I say sex scene. I mean, I do say sex scene because they're not really. It's like, because when it comes down to it, they're both wearing like clothes. But it's the concept, and their partners have to understand this. That this is what they're going to be doing throughout the filming. That actually they're going to have to have sex during the filming, and they're going to have to practice, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to have to do that scene over and over and over again. And they're going to have to get nude, and it's part of the career, it's part of their life. As long as there is nothing hidden, there is nothing stopping these people from having a genuine relationship, having a family, having a loving monogamous marriage, kids, life, because at the end of the day it's about whether or not you can handle the career choice. You know, and though I do have that account, I cannot use it because I don't want to. It's just that simple. I don't want to use it. But I do have a Patreon, and my Patreon is linked into a lot of the stuff that I post on those Facebook groups where I am wearing my lovely outfits. I love those outfits. Where I'm wearing my outfits, you know, and it links in with that. You know, there are a lot of content creators that are on Patreon where their content links into some of the things that they do on their own content pages, you know, and mine links in with that one. But it's preferences, and people have to stop bashing women on wanting to be part of an industry just because they don't understand it, don't like it, don't trust it. Yeah, I think there is so much there that people need to learn to understand, that it's not just about getting paid. It's about embracing their own body, embracing themselves, and understanding that they love who they are, they enjoy who they are, and that's what matters. You know, the sex industry is not always about money. It's about embracing who we are as people. And there are hundreds of men in the industry as well. And I don't know how many men are on OnlyFans. There's got to be a few. I mean, realistically, there's got to be some. But you only ever hear about the women because it's the men that seem to be having a hard time with it. It seems to be the men that are having a hard time dealing with the fact that women are on it and showing off, and you know. But instead of condemning the sex industry, understand that it's about empowerment for both sexes, for both men and women. It is about embracing your real self, and you know, yeah, you get paid for it. It's good money. But it's about loving who you are to such an point. You embrace who you are and can accept who you are. And are not ashamed or afraid to show it off to the whole world. You know? That is why the sex industry exists. You know? And it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to be afraid of. But it is something that needs to be open to the whole world. It's something that the whole world needs to embrace a little bit, rather than keep condemning as cheating and as something that's scary or evil or horrible or, you know, skanky or something that's not very nice, when actual fact there's nothing wrong with what the industry does. You know, I think it takes sex and makes it exciting and makes it enticing and takes it to a whole new level. You know, it makes it okay, and it makes everybody's fantasies and everybody's kinks and everybody's thoughts about it okay. It takes everything that we ever thought about sex, everything we ever want in sex, and it shows the whole world that actually there's nothing wrong with any of it. that we're allowed to embrace all of it. You know, it's nothing to be ashamed of. And if you've got a foot fetish, that's okay. If you've got a friggin', I don't know, you know, if you're into furries, there's nothing to be ashamed of with that either. If you're into bondage, if you're into God knows what, you know, cosplay, if you're into, you know, role playing, it's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, it doesn't matter what your kink is, it doesn't matter what your fetishes are, it doesn't matter what your thing is. I mean, if you have a thing about eating food off each other, that's okay too. It takes all of these things and it turns it into something acceptable and something fun and enticing and exciting, rather than making it something to be ashamed of and in the shadows, and, you know, which is something it was for a long time. So if you find someone or meet somebody and you find out that they're part of that industry, regardless of which part they're in, so if they're on OnlyFans or sex clubs or sex workers or porn stars or whatever, don't judge them. Learn about it, because you might actually find you'll learn something new, rather than judge them and lose the opportunity to, one, make a new friend, two, learn something really incredible, not only about an industry that's been so misconstrued, but about yourself, because you could learn an awful lot from that person. You know, yeah, I'm going to leave it there. All right. But yeah, it's definitely worth a second thought before judging someone. All right.